Hey, hello. Guess what is today? Today's the day.
Today,
Ryan, do you know what day is the day
I
today?
do. Today's, well, I mean, you mean the day we're recording this, or the day it comes out?
Yeah, I mean, okay, you got me there. What's the date currently as we are
The
existing?
day is January 13th, the day before the podcast comes out.
That's also Ryan's birthday, so everybody give him a birthday applause.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah, Ryan.
Thanks, Braxton. Appreciate the applause.
Trying to coin birthday applause. It's hard to make it catch on, but you know,
It's hard to do something by yourself.
as we are an ultra popular podcast, it will definitely catch on.
Oh, yeah.
Ooh. Okay. So last I existed in this soundscape, I think I was still kind of getting over sickness and death.
True.
Not death, but
Yeah.
sickness.
Well, you could have died.
Could have died. Didn't die because we have a lot to cover with this Unearthed
Yeah, you can
Arcana.
die
This
once
is
we
the-
finish the podcast. And I don't know.
Which technically
10 years
should
from now.
never happen. Yeah. We'll have a reunion tour at that point. But today was I guess technically what made us start doing Unearthed Arcana, because this came out and we were like, maybe we should talk about this.
Yeah, this is a big deal.
I was
I remember
walking home.
You posted it,
Yeah.
yeah.
It's like, what is this? And of course, I was excited because it has Warlock stuff in it. If it didn't have Warlock
Yeah, if
in
I
it,
recall,
probably
the
would.
exact wording you said was they made a tome lock good. Finally.
I would argue that it is now cool and good and has useful features. We'll get there because
it's
it's
funny 'cause there's
last.
so many things. Well, it's Wizards after Warlock, but
Yeah.
they don't really have too much.
But this is the Unearthed Arcana class feature variants episode podcast that will be covering everything on it. Not everything, maybe everything. It's
At least
pretty easy to
the
get
key
through.
points, yeah.
So, this is official material. I can post this in a tweet or something, right?
This, yeah.
Like the PDF.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Don't
maybe
forget, though,
I'll.
it's playtest content.
Yeah. So it's not.
Yeah, it's official.
What?
It's on their website.
When does this come out? Like, where will this be?
I would have to imagine it'd have to be, like we've talked about in the past, like a Player's Handbook 2 or a Xanathar's Guide to Everything He Forgot. I don't know.
Come on. Everything you forgot. Xanathar's Guide 2. It's a lot of cool things that.
So there's
I'd
so
wanna
much that's added
introduce
into
right
it.
away.
It can't just be like a world book or an adventure module. It has to be a
Just imagine
full-on thing.
some intern at Wizards of the Coast is just like, hey guys, I made this thing. If you wanna check it out, you don't have to put it in a book or anything. They're like, yeah, we'll mark as playtest content.
I don't know.
Not
I feel like
official.
this is straight from the mind of the D&D gods.
It is actually. So, I mean, without further ado, we've got the playtest content thing out of the way.
Well, welcome to the Dungeon Crawl, guys. I'm Ryan.
I'm Braxton. This is the Dungeon Crawl. Nice little sandwich there we did with.
Thanks.
Yeah, good job. Mm-hmm.
You're right.
Fingers there.
Eating something?
Yeah, eating the sandwich we just made.
Was
the
it
Dungeon
good?
Crawl sandwich. It was okay. Hopefully, it's even better as we keep going. But this document here that we're reading through says that it provides playtest options for every class and player's handbook.
Yada yada.
Some people get more. Some people get less.
Yeah, well, some classes are already pretty good, and some work quite well. Others have like 2 or 3 pages devoted to them, and instead of, you notice some of these features are enhancements or full-on replacements, and some of them have just everything's replaced.
Yes, keep that in mind while this is something, this playtest content, and if your DM's okay with it, you can chunk it in there, plug and play, but there are rules. If one of the things you're trying to put in says it's a replacement, you cannot keep the thing that it replaces. Obviously, we all know what the definition of replacement is.
This is also interesting, though, because it's not like it's giving you an option to choose. It just says it replaces it. So if they release this in a full book, would that just mean the player's handbook is now useless? So let's say I just got a D&D and I bought the player's handbook. I don't have player's handbook 2. So I mean, I can't play with my friends because the barbarian now has their feature replaced.
Well, that was their design philosophy. They do not want this to ostracize anybody that wants to play with the original material. Yeah. And I think you as a DM, would your decision be, if you're going to use the replacements in these, you have to use all the replacements, or would you let them pick and choose? What would you say?
I'd say you got to choose all the replacements.
Oh, most of them are better. So
yeah, I don't see why you wouldn't want to. And what if they just release them for free? something like this. They say, all right, here's all the new stuff. And maybe they also put them in a book, but here's all the new stuff we're releasing. So if you want them, you can have it. Instead of like keeping it like an expansion of like $30.
Yeah. Speaking of expansions for $30, Pokemon. Maybe we'll talk about that sometime. But I love all this, so I would be okay if Ryan, my DM, or whoever said you have to use everything or nothing.
Yeah, I think they're good.
It's good. It's good. Though, of course, if there's something that does not replace or does not enhance a portion of the original player's handbook class that you're looking at, it is maintained, protected. It doesn't disappear.
Yeah.
The
enhancements just add on to it. It's not like it's replacing that feature with what the wording is in there. It's having the wording that's in the player's handbook and then also adding this wording.
Yep. So with that kind of out of the way, how to talk to your team about this, that's all that. Let's go ahead and dive straight in with something that I think we can kind of first get out of the way even before the proficiency versatility thing. And I kind of compiled every class that gets this. It's the cantrip and spell versatility thing that is pretty much inserted at the beginning of each class here. And just to run through it real quick, the people that get spell versatility, meaning they can change spells either on a level up or when they wake up in the morning. Bards get that, sorcerers get that, rangers get that, and wizards get that.
Now,
go ahead.
The spell versatility, that's only long rest, correct? Or are some of them...
Only long rest, none are short.
Are some of them only level ups, or is it long rests?
So we'll clarify when we get there, but some of them are long rest and some of them are level up.
Okay.
I think the more spell-focused classes are on the rest. Of course, wizard, I think, could already do that, or is it sorcerer?
Well, it's the wording of the spell versatility is a little bit different than what all of them have already. If I believe, just quickly looking through it, unless I'm wrong, I think all the ones that say spell versatility allows them to change on the long rest. One spell.
Okay.
And then the next one, as you're about to say, cantrip, that is per level up.
Gotcha. Okay, so thanks for correcting me there. And for the cantrip, it's cleric and druid that get those.
Yes, and that's because they already have all their spells. You can, every long rest, they can choose anything from the cleric or druid spell list.
Warlock got something entirely different-ish, so we'll talk about that when we get there.
Yeah, which is quite interesting.
But
I think this is a good feature.
Yeah, I love it. It just makes you feel... I think it can stave off that, I want to level up in your players a bit, as long as they're able to alter their spells. It's really fun, and I love doing that.
It's not like you get to change every single spell like the clerics and druids can do already. You just get to change one from the spellcasting feature that you get with that. So if you're multi-classing, it can't you just grab from other ones. So if that one also has spell versatility, then obviously you can expand from that. But
it's like, say you're in like a water world right now and you have fly, you're not going to be using that at all. Change to water breathing.
Yeah, exactly. It allows you to cater a little bit easier instead of just being
Wanted
stuck.
you to feel less jealous of the other classes that can alter to the world. So
which I always thought was
another
a little
kind
crazy that some can change at will and others are like, I guess I'm stuck here until I level.
Very glad that they brought this in, and kind of moving forward to the all classes thing that everybody gets, proficiency versatility. This is interesting. At 4th level or higher, this enhances ability score improvement. So whenever you now get an ability score improvement for your class, whatever you are, you can replace one of your skill proficiencies with another skill proficiency offered by your class at 1st level.
Yeah, for example, like the barbarian that we'll be getting into, their skills they can choose from. You choose 2 of these when you first choose a barbarian, either animal handling, athletics, intimidation, nature, perception, or survival. So once you hit 4th level, you can start changing those.
Which is interesting.
Only when you get ability score, though.
Yeah, so this represents your skills atrophying as you focus on a different skill, which is... I don't know how I feel about it. I like that it's there, that you can do it.
Yeah, I don't mind it. Obviously, I'd prefer it if it makes sense with the story. Like, if you're this barbarian guy and you didn't expect to be using a horse or something, and you've been really getting close to your horse, then you could swap over to animal handling because you've been working with a horse for a while for 4 levels.
Yeah. So there you go. And now, without further ado, ×2, because I said that earlier, the barbarian has access to the following features. Now, this is a replacement for
both of their stuff are replacements.
Yes. So replacing Danger Sense.
So Danger Sense is basically just giving them, they get this at second level, basically just giving them advantage on dex saves against things they can see. Similar to the the rogue, who they can dodge things a little quicker and easier with advantage if they can see it. Or take half damage.
It's like a giant fireball's coming at you and like,
yeah.
Bruh. You're like, you're throwing this right at me. I'm just going to move.
Which is interesting because I've never really picked the barbarian to be a super fast person. Kind of just, they're just taking the hits, they're just a tough
I think this is like
cookie.
A sixth sense thing, hence the name.
Yes,
just,
from their totems and stuff, I guess.
Yeah, but also you have to see, so it's not really it is a sense, but it's not like that kind of spider sense that's like, oh, danger.
Either way, this gets replaced by survival instincts.
Which is you becoming proficient in your choice of 2 of the following skills: animal handling, medicine, nature, perception, or survival. Your proficiency is doubled for any ability check you make that uses either of those skills.
Which is interesting because let's say you make your class. You have to make your class with this in mind because let's say you want to have, because these are the same skills, I think, besides medicine that they already get.
Yes.
So you'd have to decide ones that, if you want to have really good animal handling, then don't choose it earlier. Choose it now.
Yep.
Then you get double proficiency.
So this one's interesting because it completely forgets about danger sense. Like this is not like a lot of the replacements are enhancements, but they're different enough that it is an enhancement. So it's kind of a reworking. This makes
them better outside of combat.
Yeah, which is awesome.
Yeah, good for barbarians, kind of giving spacing out their abilities a little better instead of just being the stupid barbarian that only is good in combat.
Plus, I love double proficiency stuff. It's great.
Yeah, correct me if I'm wrong, but before this stuff, there really isn't any double proficiency stuff, I don't believe.
No, and there's another point here, and I think it might be for the range of that double proficiency comes up, which I loved that as well. And the next thing replaces fast movement. Ryan, what is that?
I'm glad you asked me, Braxton. That is what they get at 5th level currently, which is when you get your extra attack feature for barbarian. And it's very simple. All it does is just increase your speed by 10 feet if you aren't wearing heavy armor.
So no armor for you.
Yeah, well, barbarians already don't really wear any armor.
That's true. You don't need it. So this is Instinctive Pounce, 5th level barbarian feature, replacing that fast movement. When a creature ends its turn within 15 feet of you, you can use your reaction to move up to half of your speed to a space closer to the creature. This movement doesn't provoke opportunity attacks.
I like this a lot.
This is really freaking cool.
I like it a lot better than just fast movement.
Yeah. I love enhancing other things you can do during combat. Action being something you're like, oh, it's my action. I can do a bunch of stuff, and then reaction.
Well, it's not just a blanket extra 10 feet. Here, you can help protect your buddy. You can move 15 feet, but you can help protect your friend if they're moving to the wizard. You can quickly jump over to them and block them in case they move, and you get an opportunity attack, and it's pretty awesome.
This can work with so many different things, and as you're planning your character, think about this if you're using it and what certain what are those things, feats that you can use that might work with this, especially if you move in the range of somebody and you have sentinel or something. They're locked in with you.
It makes combat a lot more interesting here too, because as we've complained about in other episodes, and when we will have our combat themed episode at some point, this allows the person playing the barbarian to pay attention when it's not their turn. It's like, okay, I got to at least keep my reaction open, so if someone stops within 15 feet of me, I can hop over to them.
And, that's everything for the barbarian. They're a pretty cool class already, and as you could tell by the other episodes we've done with those new subclasses, they get a lot of love from Woods of the Coast. So here, it's okay that this is very simple, but these two, I think, are pretty knocking it out of the park, really.
Yeah, pretty badass dudes.
Next, we have the class feature variants overview of the index.
Doesn't make any sense to me.
Let's go through all of it.
So we're just talking about the PDF. For some reason, they have this huge list of all the stuff they get that's in this pamphlet, this PDF, that is already after some of the stuff I guess it's to save pages, but it's not like they're printing this out. So I don't know.
You could
entirely
have
sure.
had this first, and it would have been weird. But really, if you look,
Well, I guess
at
they wanted to
where-
have the playtest content thing first.
Yes,
I don't
and
know.
the barbarian and all classes thing just kind of fit there, and then at the end they have the fighting styles stuff. It's weird. Playtest material. It's okay. The next is Bard, which Bard, I feel, this is my current perception of it. It is like an off support and off healer that can attack and is kind of like
It's very much off support by. Well, I do have healing spells. It's much more along the lines of buffing and debuffing things.
Yes. Would you say a bard is capable of handling themselves in combat without healing?
Yeah, I'd say so.
Okay, good. So that wasn't something that you felt at least needs to be enhanced. But here, it starts off with spells, which can take a long time to go through. But for me, nodal spells that they get, and at level 1 here, I mean, Cause Fear isn't insane, but it adds protection for them.
Yeah.
It's a really cool thing to do. And Command, I thought, was really cool that they
Yeah,
get.
Command I think is an underutilized spell.
Yeah, I like that they get that. It's really cool. And then adding Aid gives them obviously more healing.
And it's important
Or
to
at
note too.
least
So we're
more
talking about the
support.
extra spells that gets added to the list,
Yes.
and each class gets these. And to me, the biggest feature of this is adding the Xanathar stuff into it. Because while they are added a little bit already into, like, this spell is for wizards or whatnot, but I think that having this, just this blanket thing and spreading out the level a little bit more with some of these spells helps keep Xanathars relevant. So I can see, when new spells are released, they're like, oh, that's cool for a little bit, and then people just kind of forget about it because either they're just not in the forefront and not really added to other classes. It's like, okay, the warlock gets this, the wizard gets that, but this way they're kind of spread out a little bit more.
And it's kind of a sneaky way for them to sell Xanathar's Guide.
True.
It's like, here is this material. These spells are cool. They're cool.
I do
Xanathar's
like
Guide.
the Xanathar spells quite a lot.
I do too. So I was running through it. So let's go one by one. I mean, we talked about first level and second level. Within those two, are there any that you're just like, wow?
First and second?
Mhm.
I
So
like,
that's what we talked so far.
I mean, just the term and the wording of it. I like Mind Spike. I think that's a cool spell.
Yeah. I don't think it fits, though.
I think it could fit with certain colleges of bards, but yeah, the majority probably not.
Yeah, that's true. And then Mirror Image is always a great spell for you.
Yeah, I'm
to
surprised that
protect
already
yourself.
wasn't a bard spell.
Yeah, I love that. Third level.
Mass Healing Word is interesting.
Wait, which way? Where? Who?
Mass Healing Word.
Yo, yeah, that's what I was talking about. That's great.
Yeah. Tiny
Love that they
Servant's
get that.
cute.
Tiny Servant's cute. Slow utility spell.
What's
help people out.
the Unseen Servant? That's the other one they have. Yeah, it's first level, but Tiny Servant I think
Yes.
does a little bit more.
Does a little bit more.
Shit,
Phantasmal
it's third
Killer
level.
just for some more damage at fourth level. Fifth, and I don't think we can really go into everything here, but fifth and sixth level kind of are just good spells
Some
that
rituals.
either do a lot of damage or some rituals. So nothing like insane there, except I think Tensor's Transformation at level 6.
At level 6, Tensor's Transformation. Yeah. Let me remind
I think it's a
myself
really
what
good
that does.
spell. I mean, it enhances your
Yeah,
or
it gives-
somebody's attributes.
Yeah, again, it's similar. It's kind of falls in line with what we were just saying with what the bard can already do with buffing and debuffing things.
Yeah, and Mental Prison, I mean, just it works for Bard as well. At 7th level, Power Word Pain, Xanathar's Guide.
Yeah,
Lots of classes
spells are
got
always
these.
interesting.
Yeah, I think they're not creative, but they're strong.
No,
So that's cool.
well, I mean, they're high level stuff. They're like it just gives you just immediately kill something. This heals someone full. It's just blanket statements to that. If you're gonna use a high level spell slot, you want it to just do exactly what you want it to do.
Yeah, and I mean, going to 8th level here, I forget what Antipathy and Sympathy was, but I liked it a lot. Do you remember?
Yeah, it's if I believe it's only for like druid and stuff, maybe
Yeah.
wizard. But it allows it's a very lengthy wording. Let's see if I can pull it up here.
Yeah, I had it up, but so much of my stuff right now is covering everything.
Yeah, it's quite a bit. It lasts for 10 days and it attracts or repels creatures of your choice.
Right.
It's very much a a situational type of spell.
I feel like Ranger should get this. I don't think they did.
Yeah, it would make sense.
The Maze is a cool spell, but They just
Well,
kinda
they
tacked it on
can't.
here.
Okay, so they can't because it's a druid spell. I believe there's this thing the Rangers have now that they can grab a druid spell and add it to their
they've
list.
kind of tossed in druid to both bard and ranger, which is interesting. Just a little bit, a little tiddlywinks. But that's those are the notable spells that I kind of saw throughout here. They got a lot compared to some of the other people. So next up is where their features start coming in. Magical Inspiration is the next. It's an enhancement to Bardic Inspiration, which we all know what that does.
Heck yeah.
Get some die. Yeah, give them some advantage. I think it's a D4 when it starts out, correct?
I believe this
Or is it
I think it starts with a D6.
Cool. Okay, so now if a creature has Bardic Inspiration die from you and casts a spell, that creature can roll that die and add the number to damage or healing for that spell. So basically, rather than just improving the attack to hit or spell hitting attack, whatever, you can do it to the
ability check.
So
yeah, it's pretty awesome.
Really cool. That's a big part of bards.
I would assume it because they don't have the wording on there. I don't believe, but currently they have to decide. Oh no, never mind. Yeah, that's right. You can wait until after. So yeah, we work either way. You can either do it.
Yes.
So I want to add the spell the extra damage now. Or if you only do like 2 damage and the guy's not dead, you're like, all right, I'm going to add the extra damage and see if we kill him.
Of course, yeah, as I mentioned earlier, spell versatility is something that bards are now getting. Per long rest, you can change a spell.
I do like the magical inspiration because it makes Bardic Inspiration a little more impactful.
Yes, Bardic Inspiration is a really cool thing, and I love that they're adding to it. But it seems for these guys, the most they wanted to do is to give Bard more spells, which they definitely did do, because that's the end of the Bard here as we move into Cleric. Which, Ryan, thoughts on Bard? Do you like what they did? Do you think it made an impact and made them more useful?
Yeah, especially the inspiration stuff. I mean, inspiration already was cool, but this just allows it to, if you want to heal more or you want to do a little more damage, it just makes it a little more versatile.
Absolutely. I would agree. I didn't think Bard was a bad class per se, but I felt that they were like a wet noodle or jack of all trades. They could do a lot, but not be great in something. And I think this helps a good bit.
Definitely.
Moving into Cleric, Ryan, we get cantrip versatility, which...
What?
Like, really? Cantrip versatility?
Well, because
I guess it makes sense because they use every spell.
Yes, they can already do the spell versatility stuff. So they we're giving spell versatility to everybody else. Let's give them something too.
Yeah, it's just so silly. It's like you can change your cantrips.
I don't believe they can do that already, so it's kind of nice. Yeah,
it is nice. And then they don't get a lot of spells, but they get a few great ones here. Ones that I thought were of note. Cause Fear. I love. Really, the most impactful ones are those at first level and those at the end. Power Word Heal.
The biggest thing I'm so surprised that Power Word Heal was only a Bard spell.
Yeah.
I had no idea that was.
Bard.
This is like Power Word Heal just screams to me, yeah, let's give it to the clerics. I don't know why they wouldn't have.
Something that I think is amazing in this is 3rd to 4th, the aura spells of Vitality, Life, and Purity. Those are
those were Paladin spells, if I recall.
You put all these on and you're roiding up your team.
Sound like a record that was having issues playing. The thing to me, what's interesting, and from, if I recall, the other Unearthed Arcana cleric stuff, they kind of made them a little more martial based, so they could get in and do some combat. These aura spells definitely increase that because they were given to paladins because they're always around, the main stuff, healing their buddies while they're in the middle of fighting stuff. The clerics are usually the guys on the sidelines, trying to stay away from the main combat. But here they have branding smite now. They have things that will help them survive longer in combat. And if they're around people fighting, then they can add the aura vitality and whatnot.
Yeah, they were the white mage, basically.
Yeah, and it also adds, we can get to in a minute, but Blessed Strikes, which is an 8th level spell, also helps them kick some ass in combat.
Oh, yeah. So let's get into their new Channel Divinity stuff. Ryan, go ahead and take that away, because I've been chatting.
So this adds an extra Channel Divinity thing, and not replacing it, just enhancing it. And this, as a bonus action, they can grip the holy symbol, utter a short prayer, and then regain an expended 1st level spell slot. Which, that's nothing to scoff at.
Yeah. A lot of your healing stuff is from 1st level.
Yeah. Cure Wounds is 1st level, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Is it?
I think so.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it's 1st level. Yeah, that's huge.
Nice.
And the healing word would also be there as well. So yeah, I guess some good stuff.
Any regain spell slot stuff is insanely strong, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Really, really is. And then the next part, Blessed Strikes, Ryan was alluding to earlier. What is that?
So that's what you get at 8th level. And this actually replaces, instead of just adding 2, this replaces either Divine Strike or Potent Spellcasting. And this just basically gives them, whenever they take damage from, or a creature takes damage from pretty much anything that they do, either a spell or weapon attack, you can deal an additional 1d8 damage. And then obviously you can't use it again until the start of your next turn. Pretty sick.
Pretty sick. Essentially, this is an extra d8 damage DPS per turn for you. I did feel that this was a bit underwhelming. I don't like things that are just damage and don't scale with your level. Though 1d8 per turn, that's great. But I feel like it's just kind of it's an 8th level thing, which isn't low, isn't high. It just kind of felt just like there you go.
It's interesting because what it replaces is almost the same thing. Only thing being that it's adding to your spell attacks now as well.
Yeah. So it's not my favorite thing, but it's an option that you can replace. You don't have to use it. But if you're going with this stuff, it's, what happens here. So
it does make potent spellcasting a lot better though, because that just adds your wisdom modifier to the damage of a cantrip.
1d8's nothing to scoff at. A lot of spells say, at this next level, add another d whatever. So this is basically that, which is cool.
It just doesn't increase in damage. Divine Strike does go from 1d8 to 2d8.
Yes. But that's it for the cleric there. They got some spells, the cantrip versatility thing. So like Ryan said, I think this was really just to increase the utility of the cleric, allow them to do more things than just heal. But cleric had some pretty strong spells already. So I think this was good. Cleric was pretty solid to begin with.
Yeah,
right, Ryan, what do you feel?
I like it. It's cool.
Yeah. So Druid, they also get the cantrip versatility thing.
Yes.
Because I think, did they already have a similar thing?
Yes.
Too? Okay.
They have every spell in the book.
You got two of probably the not necessarily worst people to talk about different classes, because Ryan's not a player really, and I only do Warlock.
Yeah, so, I at least know the some of the ins and outs of them. But yeah, I don't know how they work in game unless I've had a player that used them for a while.
Yes.
And Druid I have not. Except for I have a player recently that switched over to Druid, but it's only been a level of it. So
yeah. So Druids get a bunch of spells here. A lot of it I think isn't really noteworthy just because they are damage spells or interesting utility spells, but notable things, there are definitely some of those here. Augury, which Ryan hates, but they get it at second level.
I don't hate it. Most DMs just find it it's just kind of can catch you off guard.
Yeah.
Because basically, DM, help me figure out what we should be doing. Is this a good idea?
Yeah. So
it's like, I don't know. Is it a good idea? It could be.
I saw that and I was like, Ryan's gonna wait. And then of course the Aura of Vitality. I love those spells. That's great. But
Revivify is pretty big.
Yeah, I was about to say that. All right. And then of course, in line with Augury, Divination.
Yeah.
Mass Polymorph, Power Word Heal.
And the way I would have that worded, like for Augury and Divination, I'd have them like communicating with like the Fae creatures and stuff, not to a deity, unless they do follow a deity. But some druids are just more like, Mother Nature type people. But there are, I guess depending on your world, there are deities that are Mother Nature-y. Yeah.
But Mass Polymorph, why was that not a thing before for them?
I mean, I don't know.
Xanathar's Guide. Okay, that's why.
Yeah, but I mean, they still could have included it when they made the spell. But Polymorph isn't it? No, Polymorph is a druid. Never mind. I don't know.
Yeah, see? Isn't that weird?
So Mass Polymorph, oh no, they had it. Yeah, they gave it to Bard, Sorcerer, and Wizard. So yeah, I'm curious why it was only
maybe druid's magic is for themselves. Maybe that's their thinking.
Maybe, yeah. They got wild shape, so.
Yeah. Well, speaking of wild shape, you get an enhancement to it at second level. Wild Companion, which I love this.
You do?
Love it so much. Yeah, I like it. What, do you not?
I don't not like it. I just feel like I'd rather be shaping myself into some cool creature than.
Well, that's the cool thing is it's an enhancement.
Yeah.
And I did have that thought in the beginning, but you gain the ability to summon a spirit that assumes an animal form as an action. You can expend the use of your wild shape rather than using it on yourself to use the Find Familiar spell without components. But when you cast a spell like this, the familiar is, of course, Fey rather than a beast, and it disappears after a number of hours equal to your druid level. So not only do you not have to use material components, but it extends the length of the Find Familiar spell, which is cool.
Yeah,
actually, no, I think Find Familiar doesn't go away.
No, it's until it gets killed, as you found out.
Okay, yeah, so never mind. This kind of worsens it a little bit. But I think it's cool to have the option because maybe you want to stay as yourself.
It's for free.
Yeah, and you now can send an animal or a Fey to do your bidding while you're negotiating with somebody you can't leave right now. But that's it.
It's not bad.
Druid's already a pretty cool class, so this just gives you a lot of great spells. Revivify is something they wanted more classes to have, and you're starting to see that.
Now, do you think giving more classes Revivify makes going to 0 more trivial?
Yeah. A lot of stuff here is making going to 0 more trivial, especially with Warlock.
Yeah, it's not necessarily a bad thing, I guess. Just that DMs make that shit harder. Yeah,
well, think about games nowadays is getting downed never means death. It's whenever your teammate fails to get you out of that situation is that you die. So it makes sense with a lot of game design that is currently going on in the modern age.
Yeah.
It's like getting down rather than dying. But it's weird because
the thing about you do have to get to them. It's not like they have the other raids effects, unless I'm wrong.
I don't think so.
Like Raise Dead would be the next one, right? Druids don't have that.
No.
But they have Revivify now, so you just have to get there within a minute. Yeah. So it can be tough in combat.
But if everybody has a Revivify, then possibly
no one has a
chance to do it. No one has it. The next is Fighter.
Yeah,
you get some cool stuff.
Yeah, this is some nice stuff.
Yeah, some of these new things are, I thought, insane, and this whole
honestly, all the ones where it says the fighting style stuff, all the classes that get that, it's some really nice things.
It's insane, and I think they did this fighting style options and giving that to some other classes because so many people were teching into Fighter for a level.
Yeah.
And stuff here even more so makes me want to get into Fighter for like a level or two because of these new maneuvers. They're insane. So when you gain the fighting style, blah, 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 you can look at the fighting styles thing on page 12 of this document and use any of those as well. But next up is Superior Technique. This style is now added to you. And Ryan, tell us what that is.
Superior Technique. So for Superior Technique, you learn one maneuver of your choice from among those available to the Battle Master archetype, which is currently in the player's handbook. So you just got to maneuver to that section, to the Battle Master. And they have a lot of maneuvers. This gives you your superiority die, which is a D8. I believe you have 4 of them. I think you probably get more at other levels, but there's a lot of maneuvers in there. So this allows you to learn one maneuver from, even if you're not a Battle Master archetype. If it requires you to target to make a saving throw to resist the maneuver's effects, and the saving throw equals yada yada. You can read it if you're really that interested. Mainly, this just adds the maneuvers, at least one of them, to all fighters.
Yes,
which is pretty nice.
Which is good. Yeah, because it's such a big chunk of the player's handbook.
You played Fighter for a one shot. What'd you think?
Yeah. So I feel like the maneuvers are basically just spells, except you use your physical body as the catalyst, and these give you effects that you can use in combat. I loved it. But I think Fighter is honestly best when multi-classed into.
Yeah.
Like, my character could benefit from this so much.
Yeah.
That's all I ever think about.
Oh my goodness.
Don't worry. We'll talk about it. I'm not planning on doing this right now, but I just think these are cool.
Yeah.
I think Fighter's great. I like them.
No, Fighter's cool.
So these maneuver options, some that I thought, I don't want to go through all of them, but the ones that I thought were kind of stand outy. Let me see.
That the ones in the handbook,
and
or
the
one
at
the end of this sheet?
One right here, not the fighting style. Sorry, the maneuvers that come up here. So of course, first level feature enhances maneuvers. You can use any of these. I think as it stood in the player's handbook, you could pretty much get every maneuver, but now this adds like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 of them, even more.
You mean the fighting styles
that I picked here? No, the maneuver options.
Does this?
What are you looking at,
Oh,
boy?
I'm so sorry. You skipped over versatility.
Oh, well, yeah.
That's why I was confused.
Silly. Well, the versatility didn't need to be a thing really
It just allows you
previously.
to change it.
It allows you to change them whenever you finish a long rest, which makes sense. You're preparing for the next day physically.
Well, basically just allows you, if you're not the battle master archetype, you can still, you're not just locked into whatever you chose at first level. You can swap them around.
Yes, my apology for skipping over that.
Yeah, I was confused. You stole me off.
I'm down there. Where are my? There they are. So I thought that bait and switch.
Yeah,
is great. This is amazing. When you're within 5 feet of an ally on your turn, you can use one superiority die and swap places with that ally. So let's go back to the when you're within 5 feet of an ally on your turn. You can only do this then. So it's not necessarily an action or reaction. You just do it.
You just do it.
As long as it's your turn. So this movement doesn't provoke any opportunity attacks. Roll the superiority die. And until the start of your next turn, that ally gets AC bonus equal to the number rolled.
It's like you're just protecting them.
That's awesome. And then brace. I thought that was kind of dumb. It's basically bonus damage opportunity attack. So when an enemy, you can see moves within 5 feet of you, regardless of how long a reach your weapon has, only 5 feet, you can use your reaction to expend one superiority die and make a weapon attack against that creature. If the attack hits, add the damage.
I mean, I don't think that's going to be, if you can only get one maneuver, I don't think that's going to be one you're going to take. But if you can grab a couple, why not?
Yeah. So it's a shorter bonus damage opportunity attack that does use your reaction, so it takes that. And then I thought Restraining Strike was really cool.
It is very nice. Allows you to grapple.
Yeah. So immediately after you hit a creature with a melee weapon attack on your turn, you can expend a superiority die and use a bonus action to grapple them. In Chapter 9, that's where the rules on grappling is in the player's handbook. Add the superiority die to your strength check.
Mm-hmm.
So if your strength check for these guys is already, 19, you add your superiority die, they're not getting out of this.
Unless they have really good strength.
Yes, of course. But any of these stick out to you, Ryan, or seem kind of lackluster? You like Snipe?
Mm-hmm. Because you get to do it as a make a ranged weapon. What did I say? Ranged weapon. Ranged weapon attack. And we'll see this. I think this is also mentioned later. And I think it's in the fighting style area that you can draw a thrown weapon as part of making this attack. So it's not like you have to swap weapons and change, do the whole bull crap of reaching into your pouch and pulling out. It's just all one fluid motion.
It's so cool. Yeah, you just go.
Yeah. And
I thought, I don't recall if there were any really role playing maneuvers.
No, I don't believe so.
But now you've got Studious Eye, Silver Tongue, and those are really cool because now you can force, I believe, bonus superiority die to insight, investigation, deception, or persuasion between those two maneuvers. So that's really cool.
Yeah, from what you were saying, if you go to the maneuvers section on Player's Handbook, just reading the first 3 or 4 words, pretty much they all say, when you hit a creature, when you take the attack action, when you hit a creature, when you move. I guess that's a little different when you move, but when you hit a creature, when a creature misses you with an attack. Yeah, so this is the only maneuver that is not about attacking.
Silver Tongue and Studious Eye. So if you tack into this as like a spell slinger, these are some things you could probably take. It's really strong. You'll probably do that. But that is the fighter. Do you like it?
Yeah, I like the extra maneuvers and the extra fighting styles that are farther down the page.
Yes, fighter's already a really strong class, as you all know. And this just gives them some new abilities and tools to use. And I like when Ryan says this class name, so I'm going to let him take this.
What, you like this class name?
No, whenever you say it, you always say it funnily.
Monk?
Yeah.
I say that funny?
Yeah, you say monk.
Monk? How do you say it?
Monk.
Monk?
Yeah. Neither is wrong or right. I don't hear many people say monk.
Interesting. I never even noticed.
Monk looks more phonetically correct, but I've always just said monk.
Monk.
Yeah. Like skunk.
Yeah, that's true. Words are weird, huh? English.
Words are weird. If you say them enough, they turn into not words. Strange things that you say.
Like soap. Or goop. Ooze.
Why? I feel like you're just picking sudsy things. Or like...
Yeah, they have the weirdest
Let's talk about
words.
the monk. They do. And we'll get to that next. So they don't got a ton of stuff, but they got some cool stuff, I think. So first level, you enhance your martial arts, and this confused me.
It does.
You'll have to tell me like what this adds. And it seems pretty obvious, but I'm not sure why. Monks use mostly unarmed strikes, right? Like their fists.
Yeah, I mean, they can use staves and things.
Okay, so this feature defines your monk weapons rather than using the definition of martial arts.
Mm-hmm.
You now practice your martial arts with specifically chosen weapons, and emphasis on the S in weapons, which become monk weapons for you. You can choose a number of these weapons to be your monk weapons, equal to 5 plus your wisdom modifier. So a maximum of 10 weapons, minimum of 5.
Yeah.
The chosen weapons must meet the criteria below. It must be simple or martial. You have to be proficient with it, and it has to be heavy, special, or two-handed.
Mm-hmm.
So why would a monk want this?
It allows them to choose more things, because currently they can only choose, it says short swords or any simple melee weapons.
Yeah,
they don't have
weird.
the two-handed or heavy weapon. So it allows them to use martial weapons pretty much.
I mean, when you think of a monk, you think of a dojo with like several pole arms and weapons lining the walls, and as their enemy comes in, they start kicking and picking up weapons and throwing them around, and they're just masters of combat.
Yeah, well, most of the ones you just mentioned are simple, so they could already use those.
Okay, this is weird. Yeah,
like staff and stuff.
Yeah, this confused me.
Wait, quarterstaff, yeah.
Quarterstaff.
This basically just would allow them to use, they could use a flail, which some monks do already use. Morning Star.
Want to say what we're all thinking right now?
What?
This is going to be a long podcast, Ryan. We're just going to marathon through this.
That's okay.
Let's just do it.
Nothing wrong with long podcasts. You guys can listen to us on your long trek. Maybe you're driving home for... No, holidays are over. No, you're not
Ryan's
doing that.
birthday is today. Mine's on the 18th.
No, no one's doing that. No one's coming here.
No one. I might.
No.
But next is key fueled strike. So this enhances your key. If you spend 1 key or more as part of your action on your turn, you can then immediately make 1 unarmed strike as a bonus action. So no matter how much you spend, if you do any amount of key on your turn, you can make a bonus unarmed strike.
Monks are all about kind of cheating out what they can do with their key points. Yep. All about getting extra attacks, doing, tons of attacks in a row, doing, deflecting missiles, all sorts of stuff, fun little stuff.
Absolutely, positively. And then you get more enhancements to your keys. These are more ways for you to utilize these points, I think. Mm-hmm. Correct?
Yeah.
Ryan?
Yes.
So Distant Eye and Quickened Healing. I like both of these, I think.
I really like Distant Eye.
I like Quickened Healing.
Oh.
Take Distant Eye.
I like Distant Eye because how many times have you been in combat with someone and they started running away and they were too quick for you guys to catch up, but you couldn't attack either or you could, but we'd be at disadvantage and you probably miss. This allows you to just boom attack them as they're running away.
It's pretty good. But how often have you wanted to heal?
Not often. I don't play players.
Well, shut up. As an action, you can spend 2 key points to roll a martial arts die and regain a number of hit points equal to the number rolled.
That's already good.
It's pretty good. That's it for the monk.
Yeah.
The
I think monks are also very underplayed.
They are underplayed. They're crazy boys and they can do a lot of stuff.
Especially with the JoJo one.
What did you say?
This JoJo subclass that we talked about.
You talk about JoJo's Bizarre Adventure?
Yeah, because we've talked about it before. Go back and listen to our Monk Unearthed Arcana podcast.
The monk. You just said monk. Monk.
I don't even know what I'm saying anymore, man.
I don't even know anymore either. Is it caramel and caramel? When people ask me which of those I say, I try to say it, and I'm like, I honestly
what about
I don't know.
Crayon?
Crown. Let's
English,
go to Paladin. Man. These guys are sharing a page here. They are
sharing a cute little page.
Cute little page, because the person after this is a beast.
Literally.
Paladin. Well, you get fighting style options. Yay. Whoa. See page 12 and see what fighting styles that you can use.
I mean, you already get fighting styles, but you get more now.
Yay. The Blessed Warrior style is also now added to your list of style options.
So you go to page 12. I'm not going to count how many are there, but there's a good chunk on page 12 of this document. We can get to that in a minute, but currently Paladins can only choose Four different ones. So this adds a whole bunch more.
A whole bunch, a lot of things get added to you here.
Oh, yeah.
Including Blessed Warrior, which is only available to you. You now learn 2 cantrips of your choice from the cleric spell list. They count as paladin spells for you, and charisma is your spellcasting ability with them.
Makes sense.
Whenever you gain a level in this class, you can replace one of those cantrips from another cantrip from the cleric spell list.
So it's basically
Some classes got these.
Cantrip versatility thing, just not.
Yeah. But how useful, like, cantrips, I use them a good bit, like Eldritch Blast,
Are you dissing cantrips?
Huh?
Are you dissing cantrips?
A little bit.
Dude, there's some good ones out there.
There are. I just think that, replacing a fighting style option with just 2 cleric spells.
No, this is not a replacement, it's enhancing.
Yeah. Well, it's enhancing in the sense that you could choose this over other fighting styles.
But how many do you get? You get 1. At least at this level.
This would not be the one I pick at this level.
No, probably not.
That's my thought on it. But you get some spells. Maybe
I guess it depends on how you're playing. Because you could, pick up resistance. You could pick up some. Well, I guess they got to be cleric. That is a cleric spell. I don't know. It depends on how you want to play it.
Yeah, it depends.
The most paladins you want to be up close and personal. So
honestly, I don't think I even made notes for paladin just because I feel like this was just a pretty regular thing. I mean,
jackass.
You get some spells. Any of those stand out to you, Ryan?
Gentle Repose isn't
stuff.
bad.
Yeah.
It's kind of a cool little spell.
Most
Warding Bonds,
like,
Spirit Guardians is huge, especially for what they do, being in the middle of combat. They can just do tons of AoE damage.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Not terrible.
And it's like 7 spells here. Not a bunch.
Now, let's say you're playing Curse of Strahd, though. Pick up Dawn, dude.
Dawn, at 5th level, you get that from Xanathar's Guide. Though,
pick it up. Well, you don't get that at 5th level.
No,
it's a 5th level spell.
It's a 5th level spell, so probably like.
For paladins, you get that. You get that 17th level. So maybe if you're playing Curse of Strahd, you're probably not going to be picking that up.
You get that at 17th level.
Yeah, paladins are not spellcasters.
The first 5th level spell I get as a warlock is next level at level 9.
Yeah, paladins have their things very much spaced out. The 5th level is the highest spell slot that you never cast.
Interesting.
That
makes sense.
They're not big spellcaster boys.
Fighting.
Yeah, they're fighting boys.
What is Harness Divine Power? What is that?
Harvest Divine Power, it enhances your channel divinity stuff, and it fuels your spells. As a bonus action, you touch your holy symbol, utter a prayer, and regain 1 expended first level spell slot. Where have we heard that before?
We heard that with
Well, it's at least sound like you're interested. I know you don't like the paladins, but come on.
I don't dislike them. But yeah, they've been adding this already. Like
that came from the cleric. The cleric had that earlier.
How cool is that?
It's all right, I guess.
Getting spell slots back is cool. You once gave me an item that did that as a warlock, which
that was the Rod of the Pact Keeper, right?
Something like that.
That's a nice.
I totally could have fucking said that I got that from my brother last time when I started making my character, but I didn't. Okay, this is a lot here coming up.
Yeah. Well, do you want to take a very short break to talk about the stuff that we were going to talk about?
Yeah.
Before we delve into the final sections here.
Yeah, let's do that. Well, I think first we were playing D&D yesterday and realized that there was a leak.
And we had a great time.
We did have a good time.
It was tons of fun.
Tons of fun. We're going to kill some trolls for a questionable society of scholars. And but there was a leak, Ryan. What was that leak?
Yeah, so Wizards of the Coast announced a while ago that on the 13th, on my birthday, they were going to announce a new book. And for the last probably year or so, I don't know, maybe longer than that, Amazon has somehow leaked the book about 3 or 4 days ahead of time, every time.
Yes.
Kind of ruining the surprise for Wizards of the Coast. And lo and behold, it happened again, but this time it was at least only a day ahead of time. So at least that's something.
Has it been released yet today?
Yes, people out there, they're talking about it now. So it's been officially released, like the covers come out and everything. But it's the Explorer's Guide to Wildemount, I believe is the wording on it, not Wayfarers. I was calling Wayfarers yesterday. Yeah, Explorer's Guide to Wildmount, which is a Critical Role setting.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, JD's over here meowing. And that will be coming out in March. And some people are excited, some people not so excited.
I'm not so excited.
Why are you not excited? Let's hear it.
I want them to make new stuff. I don't like it when, like, it's cool, it's fan servicey, but this is a world that has existed already, and if you wanted to use it yourself, you could listen to the podcast and make it. I like that it's simple and easy, and you could look at it here. Awesome, let's play in this world, but make something new.
There are 3 new subclasses, as well as a new magic
Are any of them warlock?
School. We don't know. Probably not. I think it's rumored that 2 of them are wizards and 1 is a fighter subclass.
This is dumb.
Just because it's not warlock.
Well, yeah. I'm just kidding. But no, I feel indifferent about it.
The biggest thing for me, and the thing that I saw people talking about the most when this was leaked and when it was fully announced, is that a lot of people were saying how they don't really want to play in this setting. They say, well, this setting is just a Critical Role setting. It's attached to the story. I don't want to be playing in it. And I 100% agree with all that stuff. So why not just take the information that's in it and put it in your own world? Have I ever played in Eberron? Nope. I ever played in Ravenloft? Nope. Ever played in Forgotten Realms? Nope. But have I stolen a lot of material from those and adapted to my world? Hell yeah.
I feel like that kind of contradicts your opinion on this Unearthed Arcana stuff. Like, if you use the replacements, you have to use all of them.
No, because these are built around the replacements. They're balanced around the replacements.
Yeah, I guess that makes sense.
But so I'm interested in this mainly because I have the first book that they released by themselves, not through Wizards of the Coast. And I love it. Just there's some great adventure plot hooks and stuff in there that don't really give you. What I like about it is that a lot of adventures that you'll find out there will have, tell you exactly how to bullet points on how the story, the adventure will go. The way that was in their last book was just a small little hook. Didn't even really tell you a lot of times what the monster was. They kind of let you create it on your own. It got my blood. Like kind of plot hooks and stuff that you would write for. What's the writing prompts? That's the word I'm looking for. Kind of like writing prompts, and you would just write for 30 minutes or something. Got my brain moving. So I'm intrigued just to go through and rip and steal stuff because I think Matthew Mercer is a great mind for this type of world building stuff, and he's the reason I got into D&D, and so I'd love to. I'm just excited to pick it a little bit and see what I can steal and put in my own world.
Yeah, I just want them to release something related to all of this crap that we're going over right now.
I'm hoping they're working on it.
I don't know.
Because my guess is like Jeremy Crawford and those guys probably didn't work on this.
Yeah.
If I had to guess. I'm not positive. I don't know exactly. I know that, I'll even say it right here. Yeah, the writers are Matthew Mercer, Chris Lockey, James Introcaso, and James Hayek. I know he's the guy that writes for D&D Beyond. None of those, as far as I'm aware, and people feel free to correct me, none of those are like the big head honchos in the D&D department. So obviously they're probably working on something of their own.
Yeah. As you said yesterday, I find it interesting that this is not something that Critical Role is releasing, but it's...
You can buy it from their website, so they must have worked something out where they're both able to make money off of it.
It's quite weird.
Yeah.
But, I mean, new material. It's great nonetheless.
Yeah, obviously, I mean, so Eberron didn't really appeal to you either, I would imagine.
I just feel weird about new class stuff, but confined to that.
Yeah.
I want D&D.
Just blanket stuff that works for everything.
Yes, I want that. I hate these small little things that are their own little experience. Like I want.
See, as someone who mainly DMs, this stuff is great for me because it allows me to do less work and just take what other people have already done.
Yeah, I get that. As a pretty much strictly player, sometimes DM, but I just improv everything. I want more things that I can use for my character that my DM says, oh yeah, this is basically Player's Handbook 2, so let's go ahead. Mm-hmm. Xanathar's Guide's the same way. I can use anything.
So they do sneak in material like that for almost every book that they release, even if like Curse of Strahd has a new background and I believe probably a new subclass or something. I'm not entirely sure, but Ghosts of Saltmarsh also had stuff like that. So, do most players buy those books and then find those and to say, hey, I want to use them? Probably not. I think those are mainly for DMs who are running adventures for people. So
I think
players kind of get shafted here
DMs
and there.
I think most DMs would be okay with somebody playing a Warforged in their base game. Like most people
Yeah,
are
I'd be all right with it.
Yeah, really.
Really? You asking me really?
Yeah.
Yeah, because, I mean, as you've found recently, there is more technology out in my world, just not where you guys are currently, like where the game started. So
rude.
So if someone came to me day one and was like, hey, I kind of want to play a Warforged, like, okay, cool, yeah, we can work that out. I can tell you that this world doesn't usually have that type of stuff, so I'd integrate them into the world a little bit better. But yeah, I'm all right with working with the old player.
All right. Okay. Then.
Okay.
Sure. Yeah, that's fine. But yeah, that's that. Kind of surprised when I saw it. Any news coming out for D&D always freaks me out in a good way. But
yeah, we'll
else
talk about it more when it comes out.
Yeah.
March 17th.
There's that thing I brought up with you. I've been playing a lot of Final Fantasy 14, and I've joined a free company, which is basically a guild for that game. And most of them are interested in Dungeons & Dragons, and I asked if they had any questions.
Yeah, shout out.
This one may be dangerous because it goes into combat. That's just a dangerous topic for me and Ryan. We've been holding this like a carrot in front of you guys. We'll talk about it at some point. But
at least we already know this question, so I can make it focused.
Yes. So this person said this is a potential topic they'd want to know about. They have trouble with a lot of times a player will constantly miss all of their rolls and spend about 5 rounds sitting there doing nothing. Do we think there's a way to still make them feel involved and having fun, or is it just an unfortunate thing you kind of got to muddle through? And with that last portion there, an unfortunate thing you kind of have to muddle through, and I think that means there's a problem with combat in D&D. If there's no way to make that fun. But what do you think about this?
I think that's a completely valid point. Because especially, let's think, and I've seen this on my players' faces. Let's say you're a spellcaster and one of your turns gets counterspelled. The next turn, they save their DC. The next turn, they also save their DC. And then the next turn, you don't even get a turn because you get killed, you get beaten up, and you're now got to roll a death save. You did nothing really for 3 turns. You're just kind of there. I guess you wasted some of their spell slots, at least for the first counter spell, but you just, as a DM, I can see the defeat on my player's face. Like, well, okay, I guess I don't know why I'm playing. I'm not doing anything. And it's, there really is not much you can do because, I mean, sure, you can, as a DM, if you see this happening a lot, you can fudge the rolls if you really want to. If that's the type of game you like playing, instead of just leaving it up to the chance. Or you can have a talk with all of your players and say, all right, so combat kind of gets bogged down. We're not really, maybe it's not a big deal if the turns are moving quick and they can keep trying different things. But if someone's taking a longer time or there's a lot of stuff that kind of adds up and it's another 5 or 10 minutes before that player gets to try something else again, and then they failed and they got to sit down for another 10 minutes, That's, I think, where it gets bogged down the worst. And I'd say talk to your players, say, all right, when it comes to your turn, know what you're going to do. And if you don't, you have, 30 seconds and then we're moving on.
That's one solution for sure. And then something we talk about a lot is making defeating or killing an enemy not the only goal.
True.
That way, this person isn't always trying to just hit them with a spell. Maybe there's an area they need to walk to do an objective or figure something out, but there's also this guy looming over them right now. So just create more facets or more options, goals during combat for a player to kind of choose. Maybe if I do this right now, I could get counterspelled, or I could do this other useful thing right now that's critical during this combat. More options rather than just shooting a spell at a guy.
Yeah.
That's
and as DM, don't say that you built this encounter and they created a smart solution, so you're going to force it and railroad them anyway to doing the encounter instead of going along with their smart solution.
Yeah, it's wonky. But this is definitely, I think, the biggest problem in D&D combat is it can feel this way, but it's prevalent in a lot of things. Like, think about playing against a guy who's got blue in his deck in Magic the Gathering. It's the same concept. You can't just remove blue from Magic the Gathering. You've got to play around it. You've got to figure out a way to...
Magic's been having some issues lately.
Has it?
Yeah.
Why is that?
just people aren't enjoying it as much. They've been having weird design choices for the last year or so.
I think a lot of that just stems with the online aspect of it. There's more
100%.
ways to net deck and make the most efficient
Well, they're
deck.
pushing. I think a lot of it's due to Magic Arena. They're trying to force it. I know, a little off tangent here, everybody, but they're trying to force it to make it a little more consumer friendly, like Hearthstone or some of these other card games. And they're moving away from the best of 3 format to best of 1 format for the online portion of stuff. So that means their card design decisions are starting to change. And it's, if you look at, some people have like the top 5 planeswalkers of all time. Most of the time recently, the top 3 or 4 are all ones that came out the past year.
Yeah.
That's not necessarily a good thing.
Yeah. So we'll talk about that. I may be going to a pre-release this weekend, visiting Denton.
Yeah, I haven't seen anything in the new expansion. I haven't really played Magic recently, so I'm curious what it'll be like.
Curious. You could go if you wanted.
I could, but I'm busy.
Oh, how rude on my birthday.
I know. It's not my fault. I didn't know you were thinking about coming.
Maybe. Oh, dang. We're already over an hour. We could end it here.
Could, and save the big boys for next week. Ranger and
Rogue. Did I even read Rogue? I skipped over Rogue.
It's
and went
one
straight
thing.
To Warlock. Oh my god. Oh, is it?
It's one action.
What do you want to do?
I don't know. I'm fine either way. If you want to make it a long boy, or if you want to finally be done with Unearthed Arcana and just force it out and then do something else next week.
Okay, I'm scrolling through Warlock now. If we get there, we're gonna be talking about it for a while.
All right, you want to do it next week then?
We should do it next week.
Okay.
I went through it and I saw all these things. I'm like, opinions just popping up in my head. I'm like, oh boy.
Yeah, I'll talk a good chunk about Ranger.
Me too. I love what they did there.
Nearly everything on the Ranger list is replaced.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Like they're saying something.
Yes, like Ranger was not the class they wanted it to be.
No. And I'm glad that they did this, but this is why I want a player's handbook 2 or something along those lines.
They're gonna have, if they did all this work and all these subclasses, it's gonna have to be something pretty extensive. It's not just gonna have to be a manual of the planes like I was thinking about for the subclasses. There's gonna have to be something pretty big that changes up everything.
Yeah. And I think I'll post a tweet with the table of contents with all the changes or replacements. If you look, it's really mostly enhancements. Like I would say 97% of these changes are enhancements rather than replacements.
I believe that they've talked about they don't want Player's Handbook 2, so I don't know what this is going to be in.
What if it's just this? What if it only just stays you can use this?
I would imagine it would be in this format for probably about a year before an official release comes out. Because Artificer was there for probably about a year and a half, maybe longer, before it was finally
to be
Artificer and Eberron.
You see, but that turned into what I talked about before, just a one-off experience that's that world.
Well, Artificer can be used in anything.
It can, but I really want them to just say, this can be in any world. This is not just tied to this world-building book that we've made because it fits for this world. I want this to be, we thought about D&D as a whole, and this is a way we feel like we can improve it.
Yeah. Let me check something here.
So I feel like we've got 5e, but several different versions of 5e. If that makes sense.
Well, I think because they're so worried about what they've done in the past and what Pathfinder does with the Monster Manual 2, Monster Manual 3, Player's Handbook 2, Player's Handbook 3. I don't think they want to do that, but I don't know if they're leaving themselves much of an option at this point.
They act like it's a problem on their own, but really just put that stuff out there. Let the players pick if they want to use it or not.
Yeah, yeah.
This isn't like a video game. It's just a big blob of existence of a tabletop game, and you can pick and choose portions of that blob to put on your plate and continue.
You can make it whatever you want it to be.
It's all good. I mean, realistically, Wizards of the Coast, I could homebrew anything I wanted.
Mm-hmm.
And that option itself means that it does not matter how much you put out there into the ether. It does not
just
matter.
go to dmskill.com.
Just toss that stuff out there.
They're actually having a pretty big sale right now.
Yeah, and stuff like content on those types of website, I get a kick out of using the official material because I'm like, this is the thing that exists. This is what you can use. Versus, some fan-made thing, which it's just like, this isn't something real, so I don't get too excited about it.
It's interesting because some of my favorite monsters have not been. I think Wizards of the Coast does not make good monsters. Some of them are interesting. Some of them have cooler lore than their stat block. But man, if you go to some of the Kobold Press stuff, the Tome of Beasts and the Creature Codex, those creatures are fantastic.
Yeah.
There's just so much to be done. I mean, that's some of our favorite combat encounters without even my players or practicing realizing it are not even like official things. Are from the Kobold Press stuff, and it's so much more fun than just a small stat block that a lot of the creatures have.
It's so weird how taboo changes to classes are.
Yeah.
It's so weird versus monsters. Just, throw that shit in there. They exist. So I get their efficiency in wanting to make a world and putting changes in that world. Because, hey, if you don't want to use this, don't play in that world, don't use those things. But again, I just really want that utility. Like, just these are classes you can use no matter what world you're playing in. Explicitly, I want them to say that rather than it being in a world and assuming you can take it.
Which is why the Manual of the Planes book could fit all these in it. And planes are in every world. So
yep. So that's my thought on this, and really what we were trying to get to with all of this Unearthed Arcana stuff. Though we may be doing Unearthed Arcana for probably 2 more episodes. I don't think it's bad content at all.
No, it gives us something that we get pretty passionate, chatty about it.
Yeah. And then I think we want to start doing more series, especially adding more to our monster manual stuff that we did prior
100%.
to this. 100%, because Ryan really loves monsters, and
I do.
It's great for players to learn more about them, too.
Because the monsters they're not just stat blocks. There's a whole section of lore that you can make whole adventures behind.
Mm-hmm. They influence the world in interesting and unique ways, just as you saw with the hags. They offer ways to change.
Or as Braxton found, he thought gnolls were stupid. And now he loves them.
They're stupid, but I love them. They're not smart.
Well, Yinogu.
Yinogu is cool. He's a scary boy. Yeah.
Well, guys, please rate us 5 stars on iTunes. Leave us reviews. Say how much you love the podcast. Say how much you hate the podcast.
Speaking of reviews.
Yeah.
Hold on. Did you send this?
I did.
Where'd you? Okay. So I made a strategic decision to make our first episode I Hate Pants.
Uh-huh.
We got a 5-star review on the 7th of this month.
Yeah.
From Lake Disney.
Thank you, Disney.
It's titled, it's about our I Hate Pants episode. Mm-hmm. He said, "Glad to see fellow enthusiasts who also hate pants."
Yeah. They're just in the way, man.
You were against that title? It's working out.
Well, I'm glad we stuck with the title. Guys, please leave us a comment or a review saying how much you also despise pants. We can connect on that part.
Message us on Twitter, DM at dungeon at what is it?
At Dungeon Crawl.
At Dungeon Crawl
Pod.
At Dungeon Crawl Pod. Is that it?
Send us an email. Yeah. Send us an email at the Dungeon Crawl Pod at gmail.com.
I should really make a script for this so that we don't do this all the time. It's just been a little bit. Happy birthday to Ryan. Shoot him a message at Melacior, Melaciour. Tell him happy birthday.
Well, at that point, it'll be belated.
Tell him happy belated birthday yesterday. Maybe
tell
you're
Braxton
in the time zone.
Too, because by the next podcast comes out, we'll both have a birthday. So
yeah, my birthday's on the 18th. Yeah. So this is our birth week.
Thanks for listening, guys.
Thanks for listening. Of course, I'm Braxton. He's Ryan, as he said. Have fun. Monk. Tomato. See you next time.
See ya.